Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we are back again, and we're talking about the 2026 midterms because a lot is happening in the early year of 2025, and we have to talk about the current state of the country. Now, regardless of the noise you're hearing from liberals, these anti Doge riots, people burning up Teslas and we got to remember, these are far left extremists. Moderates don't do that. Moderate people will know how to get their emotions under control. What you're seeing right now is just far left Marxists. There are generally more far left people than far right people. And far left people are way more, 60 times more likely to commit acts of violence due to their where they of course live, their location. They're mostly in the urban cities, so they're most likely going to commit acts of violence there. But compared to the far right, which I would define the far right more to be in the unpopulated rural countryside. Yeah, you're gonna have a very hard time seeing far right violence. When they're all secluded, they're like far away from society, geographically. But so I just wanted to point this out. Despite this, though, numbers are pretty good for Trump. I mean, the Democrats, they are trying their hardest to pound Donald Trump to the ground, going after him for Doge, going after him for shutting down the Department of Education, going after him for his foreign policy in regards to keeping our allies in check, and going after him on, of course, the tariffs. They're trying their best, but Democrats, of course, none of them, they can't work. They don't work. And Democrats are basically on life support. Why? Well, Americans know that, hey, look, we're obviously divided in regards to Donald Trump and what he is doing. He won 48%, I think 49% of the popular vote. Clearly, there is a divide there. Half the country voted against him, while the other half voted for him. So there's obviously a divide. But the people that, of course, voted for Trump, or just moderate sane people, will realize, you know what? Why should we listen to Democrats? Why are Democrats concerned about the economy right now? Well, they had 4 years to actually be concerned about it. So they're just squirting BS everywhere. And it's backfiring because Americans are realizing, oh, whoopie-doo, of course, now the economy has become a major thing, a major issue for Democrats. No, it's not. And they don't care about the Doge thing. No, they don't. They can care less. Mainly because Democrats are telling us to scream. Democrats are telling us to be mad and angry and outrage. Whatever the oligarchs in the Democratic Party, meaning the Democrats like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the establishment and some far-left lunatics, Bernie Sanders also, whatever they say, we must repeat it. Like the oligarch thing, right? They have some sort of respect for Joe Biden. They're so mad at him for making Kamala lose this race. Well, why are you guys using his same language? In his farewell address, he cried oligarchy. Yeah, oligarchy's in front of us. Oligarchy is upon us. Really? And just like that, Democrats, congressmen, and Democrats in Congress, and the far-left constituents have been crying oligarchy, oligarchy. Even AOC and the squad, they use the establishment talking points. So this is obviously how it worked. We were never talking about oligarchy during the campaign season. We were never talking about the oligarchy in 2024, even after the election. It all popped up because Joe Biden said it. That's the clue here. They knew Elon Musk being appointed to Doge was always a thing in 2024. No one really cared until Joe Biden said oligarchy. Then all the Democrats got upset. Well, I don't think they're really upset. They're programmed to be upset. If Democrat oligarchs, and that's what they are, tell the constituents to be upset, they will be upset. They will be upset and angry as can be. So obviously the Democrats are unpopular. Will they come back? I don't know, because the Democrats were just so bad in the last 4 years. The American people are more unforgiving. They are untrustworthy for them. Hey, look, Democrats, you misused our money. Democrats, we were suffering through inflation, and on top of that, you are making it worse by stealing money and throwing it to random countries, making transgender comic books, transgender mice, and Sesame Street in Iraq. Democrats are careless. And now that Democrats are rolling back on their side and they're saying, oh, the economy's bad, we need to fix the economy. Okay, then, Democrats, if you really, really cared about our economy, you would help us. Get out of the road, stop crying, stop stomping your feet, and actually help us. Help us. And on top of that, Americans are done with the TDS. And now on top of that, now we have something called Elon derangement syndrome. Just like Trump, Elon was praised by the left. Everyone loved Elon. He was our fighter for climate change, against climate change. And he was creating electric vehicles. Everyone from California had one. Wow. Ironic. But now, if he's on Trump's side, he still has his more environmental views. But he's a centrist, and oh, that's horrible. He's siding with Trump. We should burn all the Teslas. What gives you the right? Burn your own Tesla. Burn it. Smash into a dozen pieces. If it satisfies you that much, go ahead. You obviously don't know the use and the of money and how important money is. That's fine. Go ruin your savings. Go waste your money on your new Tesla and smash it to the ground because you hate Elon. And I honestly don't think they hate Trump. I honestly don't think they hate Elon. The Democrats just tell them to. They are programmed. They're bought and sold. And MSNBC and CNN are basically their charging stations. They load up more. They're enlightened to get more propaganda and more of these extreme views, and then they go off. So, obviously, we got to talk about the midterms. The midterms are up in the air because, obviously, 2022 was unprecedented. Typically, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a red wave because Republicans were the opposition party. And Democrats were doing pretty bad in 2022. They were unpopular. And you could make an argument that Democrats won the midterms because the issue of abortion dominated the year. Even though Republicans thought the economy and the border were going to be the issues. No, because our base didn't show up. But the women, the college students, the activists showed up. So that's kind of ironic now. Now things have changed. Democrats are the opposition party. And if history were to repeat itself and a new chapter what is not going to be established, Democrats would win the midterms. Because they're the opposition party. Ideally, Because we look at 2010, we look at 2014, Republican wins in an Obama administration. Bush, Democrats won. Actually, no. Republicans won 2002. I think mainly because of his Republicans were more unified under Bush. That was also pretty unprecedented. But in 2006, oh boy, it was a blue wave. But also in 1994, 1998, red wave. That was under the Clinton administration. But if history and precedent were to follow, Democrats would win. But believe me, Democrats can't win any midterm with this number. 30% of approval. Trump, as they say, everyone's rallying against Trump. Oh, come on. He only has 49% approval. You can make an argument that he's above water. Who knows? His approval rating's probably at 47%. His disapproval, or 47%, or 48%. Or, hey, it might be, I doubt it's at 50%, because there's always people that do not know. But I generally view this poll taken as a popularity Trump poll. And as clearly shown, Trump is more popular than the Democrats. Plus 19. Hey, guess what? When this is what happens. You say Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad for a couple days. People will believe you. Goes into a year, goes into 2 years, it goes into 3 years. But then it goes into almost a decade. People are going to get tired of you. And now you're saying Elon is bad. And now we're like, okay, you guys are insane. You guys are insane and intolerant. So people are flocking to Trump. Hey, I guess Trump's not that bad. You know, Trump has his weaknesses. Trump has his history. But the difference is he's trying to make a difference when it comes to deporting illegal aliens that committed heinous acts against women and bringing astronauts home and saving lives. But that's bad. Trump did this and this and this. What can I tell you? So, really, the midterms and how Republicans and Democrats will do are really up in the air. But if this were unprecedented and Republicans, if Republicans or American people expand the mandate for President Trump, furtherly saying, yeah, the Democratic Party is an extremist party. They will not call out the violence done towards Tesla. It's not that they want to see an American company burn. It's that they are actively with loaded guns and flames burning and even killing people that have a Tesla. Heck, half of them could be Democrats that are getting shot up. I'm sure maybe a lot of them have sold their electric vehicles. But I'm sure there's always the California Democrat that still wants to save the environment. But, hey, if this continues right now, Republicans could be sweeping. And we have basically a red wave scenario. The best Republicans can do on the House. This is the best they can do, the best red wave you can get. And that would be Republican +4, House, Republican +10, Governor, Republican +8. Okay? And as you can see, you can clearly see this is what the map would look like if that would be enacted. Take a look at New Hampshire. Republicans have a great opportunity into actually seizing New Hampshire. Why? Well, we got to remember, it's a swing state that should have gone to Trump. Let's be honest, in 2016. And because it didn't go to Trump, and let's be honest, the geography of New Hampshire, it's in the most liberal region in the country, New England. So that makes it pretty difficult. You'll see clearly we have Chris Sununu, Chris Pappas, polls. Yeah, you're already seeing a poll that was recently dropped not too long ago. Chris Pappas, the Battle of the Chris's. Chris Pappas versus Chris Sununu. Chris Sununu is trouncing Chris Pappas in a almost double-digit win. But this is an amazing, like, this is how strong and how beneficiary Chris Sununu is. If we get Chris Sununu in this race, it's guaranteed. I'm not even going to call it a battleground. And I actually think it's insane that Cook Political Report and Sabutu's crystal ball is not saying it's tilting Democrat, but it's leaning Democrat, because the last few races happened in the early 2020s where Democrat wins. Oh, whatever. We take a look at the Senate history of 2020. The seat specifically is going back and forth between Democrats. Let's see, Jean Shaheen was the latest Democrat and still holding that. But before her, she was succeeded by a Republican. In fact, the brother of Chris Sununu. 1996, Bob Smith. He was the senator from that state. And he was actually very popular. He was also, I want to believe, a liberal. So, Gordon J. Humphrey. So, obviously, 70s, 80s, yeah, New Hampshire was pretty red back then. But now New Hampshire is blue. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would describe New Hampshire as a state very similar to Michigan. Very similar to, I would say, Michigan. It's kind of more blue. Bluer, it's in my view. Not Wisconsin. Wisconsin's always up in the air. But if New Hampshire wasn't in New England, I would guarantee that Trump would have won that state pretty handily. But there is the con of having Vermont and Massachusetts smacked right next to New Hampshire. Then again, you have a lot of Massachusetts voters. They leave Massachusetts, go to New Hampshire. They go to school in New Hampshire. You have people from Vermont. Vermont, very rural, not really populated, but extremely liberal. Where do they go to school? Half of them could go to Boston, or half of them could go to New Hampshire and Concord. So it really does depend on that. The gun issue and the government issue. It's a government, very beneficiary for Republicans in New Hampshire, but geography is making it hard. But hey, they like Chris Sununu, and that's good. He's a moderate, and I am actively endorsing him. I really hope he runs, because I've said it before, but Scott Brown's not going to help us. He is literally he's not going to help us. What help would Scott Brown be? I mean, he's had his time. He was a senator from 15 years ago, and he's coming back. Well, people have forgot about you. Chris Sununu left office with a 60% approval rate. Never underwater. Even in the midst of Republican backlash for backing Nikki Haley. I think Trump supporters in New Hampshire, they could criticize Sununu for that. But overall, they know that, hey, Sununu is what we got. There is never going to be a MAGA senator in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's not MAGA country. It is libertarian country. And we need a libertarian, and I wouldn't say Sununu's a libertarian, but a moderate, not as left-wing as Phil Scott, who is not a moderate. He's very left-wing. But someone who is, of course, appealing to all sides. A friendly, relatable guy, and that's Chris Sununu. So I'm kind of confident in Sununu, and I'm really hoping. He has expressed a run for the Senate, as you can clearly see, but so has Scott Brown. But I feel that Sununu's going to trounce Brown in the primary. I mean, he's obviously the best pick. But, hey, we got to basically look at that. All this is BS. Sabutu's crystal ball and Cook Political Report they don't know what they're thinking. But most polls, including Chris Sununu, actually every poll, including Chris Sununu, is a over 5-point win. And when was the last time Chris Sununu won a race over 5 points? I think it was in 2018, actually. That was a long time ago. So it's pretty much not a battleground anymore if Sununu is the nominee for the Republicans. And when that primary will be, I am not sure. The Secretary of State has not ruled it or created that slot yet, or that date. And it's supposedly early. We have a year to go. But I'm not saying we should get very excited for New Hampshire. New Hampshire is an opportunity to expand the Senate. And I think that's what we're going to ultimately do in the end of the day, expand, but we want to expand it by multiple seats, not just by one seat. And that would be kind of disappointing, especially if we lose the House. But a Republican performance in the House would kind of, the best performance looking like this. Okay, so, yeah, this is by speculations and according to how popular the senators are, the representatives are, but you'll see a net gain of 10 seats for Republicans. Where Democrats will keep their 200 seats. They will not drop down to 199. It would be brutal if they did, but they're staying comfortably in 200 something. But they are lacking seats to, of course, pass bills that favors their vote in a Republican House. So that is pretty much the bright spot. I really doubt, like I've said it in previous times, red wave. Yeah, Republicans, it really does depend on if, they can run a liberal in, like, for instance, Mike Lawler comes from this district, Kamala Harris district, but it's pretty red. Could he be in trouble? Possibly. I mean, he won by 1 point, pretty comfortable. He's somewhat of a moderate. I would think he's somewhat of a MAGA Republican also. He's pro-Trump and people vote for him. But then again, we got to remember, Kathy Hochul, she's running for re-election. She is dead set to serving a second full term. Will she probably win? Yeah, possibly. But she is going to do an opposite cocktail effect in which she's going to impact other said districts. And really, it's just that district right here that Democrats retook that's really in jeopardy. I would think this district, the 3rd district, I forgot his name, starts with an S, but he is pretty popular there, and he was well liked and respected. So I would expect him to win. That's what the media speculations are saying. But I don't know why it's new. Yeah, there we go. St. Louis was split for a second. But this is obviously the map. You'll see I added southern Los Angeles, Las Vegas, or southern Clark County, mainly influenced by the government-owned lands, Mohave County. Of course, it has the what am I thinking? It's influenced by the Hoover Dam. Republicans could gain this district back, and Gavin Newsom and the Democrats over there in California could deliver an opposite cocktail. Although I have northern Los Angeles going for Dems. It could hold that. I have Republicans holding that seat. But really, this is what the best performance would be is 10. And that is of right now. It could go to 20 or it could be more. It really does depend on how time progresses, how the air feels, how it smells. Is it Republican air or is it Democrat air? And right now, I'm seeing a mixture of both. There are some people that are unhappy with Elon Musk, but I do believe that they're slightly the majority. Slightly. And I can't understand why. I mean, seriously, why are you guys so upset? Yeah, he's funneling around. You believe the Democrats who lied to you 4 years that he's funneling around with your personal information? No. Because really, anyone is. You mad that he's an unelected oligarch, so you claim? Well, you could say Anthony Blinken. You can say Pete Buttigieg, and the previous cabinets of administrations were also oligarchs. They were unelected. So why is Elon Musk an oligarch? Because he's rich. He built a living. That's all they got. So yeah, honestly, they're smoking liberal clout, and they're listening to the liberal scream. So that's the screaming you're constantly seeing right now. The marches against Elon Musk, the rallies. They're trying to make it sound like that Trump is unpopular, Trump's underwater. They're doing a psyop, and honestly, it's failing. It's actually making them more unpopular. But that's their goal. That's what they want. They want to trick you, and don't let them. Let's take a look at the governorship before we conclude. Yes, the governor race is probably the biggest gain. Actually, not the biggest. The House is. But you could say, be surprised to see New York. It has been labeled a battleground state by the outlet. I personally think Democrats will win there because you have New York City, and New York City is just too big, okay? Too big. Don't get ahead of yourself. But turnout-wise, I do think that, let's see, Kathy Hochul would get reelected by barely a margin. And am I saying it's not that it's impossible? Well, I would think we would lose if we nominated Carl Hyde, the town supervisor of Bethany. Yeah, Carl Hyde. I don't know, maybe very little information known about him. Mike Lawler's publicly expressed. But the thing is, though, if Mike Lawler runs for governor, then his seat is probably flipping blue. Just saying, because Mike Lawler is the only candidate, the only guy that seemingly knows how to keep that district red. Kept it red for a long time. And probably will go blue if he leaves that district. So Democrats would gain a district. Whoa, is that the end of the world? No. And ideally, Democrats will gain a district. They'll gain a couple, but you want to prevent that. Do you see a pathway forward into keeping seats? You want to go with that path. So I'm not really excited to see Mike Lawler on this list. I'm thinking, and if he can't stay in the House of Representatives forever, but he should know that it's a deadlock. We're pretty close. Democrats could easily take the House by 2 seats. And until Republicans, they feel comfortable of keeping the House of Representatives like this map right here, I think Mike Lawler is free to go if he wants. But Republicans kind of need him to keep that seat. So I would think maybe sending Lee Zeldin. We have some choices. But maybe running the congressman, not the congressman, but the Republican nominee in 2022 for the United States Senate. He did very good. Joe Pinion, 42% was a difficult one, but hey, Pinion did pretty well. He did very well in Nassau, in urban, rural counties. He won Essex County, County Clinton. No, not Clinton. Harris won. Broome County that Harris won. It's true, Rockland County is a county that he lost, but Rockland's now a Republican county. In a matter of 2 years. And in a matter of 2 years, that's how bad Democrats have run New York to the ground. So I do think that Pinion is actually going to carry that county pretty soundingly if he is the nominee. And I think he should run. Although, yeah, he's not really experienced. Well, there's nothing much to know about him. Well, let's just say he did a better performance, especially on a top-notch guy, than Chuck Schumer. This is probably his worst performance in a very long time. But it said, along with being the closest U.S. Senate election from New York since Hillary Clinton won by about 12.3%. So we have options, to win New York. let's see. New York State elections, and I would choose the go up and choose the 2024 nominee for the Senate, but guess what? Gillibrand did pretty well, honestly. It was kind of disappointing, but Michael Henry did kind of well also against Letitia James. She was just, before she was such a stigma. She was pretty a stigma back then. Now she's really a stigma. No one likes her. No one trusts her. She does not know how to do her job. And now New York City is a cesspool because of her. But obviously, this is pretty much... I still have Minnesota red. We went over that. Oh, no, I don't. We don't have that. Minnesota for the governorship. Yeah. Tim Walz, he's such a clown. Will he run? We gotta have to see. But as of right now, the Twin Cities are going to keep Minnesota blue. Kansas is going to be an easy take. Wisconsin, Michigan, pretty close. Arizona, pretty close in that race. New Mexico is also in the grabs because then again, Republicans, they are gaining there. It really does depend on who we're running. Grisham is pretty popular in New Mexico, but even she had a not so solid performance in 2022. So this is pretty much what we're looking at right now. Anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below, and as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.